Anyone that I would meet, they would say that, oh, I'm so sorry this is happening in your country. And there's a lot of sympathy. And I wanted to tell them, no, India is much more than what you're seeing in the headline. We don't give that importance to the way food is made in our country and how it's transported. And that really translates into our society, how much of reverence and respect we give to daily wage workers, to people working in farms doing the hard work. But I feel even my interest in business and my interest in a slight interest in politics. My mom doesn't want me to join politics ever, but I'm interested. So. Hi, this is Adlan Castino, and you're watching Bollywood Hangama. Do subscribe.
Adeline, welcome on Bollywood Hangama.
Thank you so much, Faridun. How are you doing?
I'm very well, and how are you doing?
Great. Really excited to be here speaking to you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, third runner-up at Miss Universe. That must be high.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. It's an incredible experience that I'm going through right now with a lot of love and appreciation from people around. It's just amazing.
Right. So it must have been a very unusual experience. I think one of the most unusual Miss Universe events ever in the history. So tell us how was the process like for you?
It's been an incredibly different reign altogether because we got crowned in 2020 in the start, and we have we have spent the entire lockdown with the preparations, everything going virtual, to a point where, just before leaving for the pageant, such a big crisis was, a big crisis happened in India with the COVID and people falling ill and people losing their lives. So it was much more than a pageant at the end of it for me. It was like it had so much of a deeper meaning to it. And I got COVID just before leaving. For me, it was like it was almost like a cold slap on the face because we were preparing everything and we kept everything to the last moment, and suddenly I had COVID. I couldn't meet anybody, and I remember really losing it all. I said this was it, and so many people calling me and saying that you won't be able to make it because you got COVID. I don't think you'll be able to travel. So I've seen a lot of my fair share of problems with trying to escape and going for the pageant, because the day I left for the pageant, the next day there was a complete lockdown. So I think everything happened like a miracle, and I really wanted to showcase the strength of India over there, because anyone that I would meet, they would say that, oh, I'm so sorry this is happening in your country, and there's a lot of sympathy. And I wanted to tell them, no, India is much more than what you're seeing in the headlines. Maybe you're looking at the amount of loss of life, but I'm also looking at the amount of people coming together and trying to fight this pandemic together. So for me to really hold that strength of India and that image of India internationally, being a representative, especially during this time, was incredibly important. And I didn't really focus on what position or something like that, because for me it was very important to establish that standing over there internationally.
So you were asked at the Miss Universe that how does the government or how does the establishment come to terms with a pandemic situation? Should they go for a complete lockdown, or should they also think about the economic hazards that people will be going through? So your answer was extremely balanced. You said that the economic aspect of common men should also be taken into consideration, and the health should also be taken into consideration. What that tells me is that it's not like a rehearsed answer, because many a times in Miss Universe we tend to see those answers which seem like they are being ratified. So how important was it for you to be original, to not maybe take a politically correct in a way statement, but go beyond that?
For me, representing my country and what we have been through as a country was more important. And it came from a very true place. I didn't try to speak about things that didn't happen. Because we've gone through this as a nation, and for me to showcase that, maybe you're a much more developed country which has the resources to shut down the country and not be bothered about it, but I come from a country where people they really struggle to earn day-to-day wages. And as much as we want to focus only on one thing, in a country like mine, it's very complex. It's not a one solution fits all. So to show that aspect to an international audience and to say that how, even if India is very complex, we still can come to solutions if the government and the public work together, and to focus more on the transparency at this time. I think it was a very relevant question, and that's why I love Miss Universe as a platform, because they ask you relevant questions and they ask women, they want to know women's voice in it. So that was my standing on it, that it's a very difficult balance to strike, but that's the balance that we need to strike now as a nation, especially as India. I believe in speaking a truth at the moment, and that's what it was there.
I've been watching your interviews, and so we tend to interact with the a lot of Miss Universe and Miss World contestants. So I think in the last quite a few years, your answers come across as very sensible and mature for a 22-year-old. Your voice resonates a lot. Your voice has a very nice quality to it. Now, how much have you worked on how you speak, or maybe your diction? How much work has gone into that?
I don't know whether a lot of people know, but I had a lisp and a stutter as a child. So even for 20 years of my life, I have suffered from a lisp. I won't say suffered from a lisp, but it was my identity. People would make fun of me because I couldn't go beyond that. I would try to sound very serious, but I would have a lisp, so they would find it very cute and they would not take me seriously. So especially coming to this platform, it was very important for me to work on that aspect. And the thing is that, I've never found anyone out there who had a lisp and who worked on it and became better. So I had to make a role model out of myself. I said कि जितना भी practice हो सकता है using YouTube, using a lot of things, I try to do that. And I think it was just practice and determination. I don't know how I transitioned from not being able to pronounce a lot of things to be able to speak with much more clarity. And I'm really happy that this journey helped me do that, because it was very hard for me to put my point across without lisping, without people asking me, okay, sorry, what did you say? Can you please repeat yourself? So I'm happy now nobody tells me to repeat myself, because it's much more clear. And I speak, I'm able to express what I really want. So a lot of work that maybe nobody's seen.
Your grandmother apparently passed away at the age of 22. And there is a certain connect that you have with her and her story. Tell us something about it.
I for the longest time growing up, I never knew her name. Like, I would go around asking people, do you know her name? Do you know how she looks like? And I always had this assumption in my mind that somehow maybe I look like my grandmother, because I never saw her. And what was the most inspiring thing for me is that she lost her life when she was 22, giving birth to my mother. And today I'm 22, and I got to talk about her story and story of women like her on such an international platform. So that holds a lot of significance for me, that even as a country, even as a generation, we've come so ahead to what was behind. But there are a lot of cases of women being treated the same way, not getting the opportunities, and passing away because of these small issues that can be solved. So I think that's what inspired me for the women in India, for the female farmers of India, to give them the importance. Because I've seen that when they talk about farmers, they only talk about men. Like when I say farmer, maybe in your head you might have an image of a man, but we never think about all the contribution that women as farmers have given to this country. So I wanted to use this platform to talk about that and to talk about them.
Yeah, so I saw one of your interviews where you've said that farmers are someone that you really want to dedicate your life to, and you want to take up their cause, and female farmers is something that you also mentioned. Now, in the recent times, we've seen the toil of farmers. They have been in the news quite prominently as well. Now, it's a very unusual cause that you've taken up, because usually, now once again, that is something that really struck me, because usually we have like very regular sort of causes, which after a point of time starts looking cosmetic, because I think everyone says the same thing, like women empowerment and a lot of other things, which is a very broader term, which is not having anything specific per se, and it seems that everybody repeats that now. But taking up the cause of farmers is very interesting.
I've been very interested in farming, I think, because because we are a very populous country, and we don't have much of, we won't be having enough resources to feed the population. And I felt like, we don't give that importance to the way food is made in our country and how it's transported. And that really translates into our society, how much of reverence and respect we give to daily wage workers, to people working in farms doing the hard work. So for me to bring that into spotlight was very important. I myself am interested in having a business in agriculture in the future. So that's where all of this stems off from my own passions, from my little passions. I'm not I'm not saying I'm going to change the world in one day, or, there's a big change that I'm going to bring, but I'm just saying that I'm following my passion. I'm also uniting people with the same kind of passion. And it's actually, I remember speaking about farmers in the start of the year, and when we progressed during the course of the year, we saw that, farmers started speaking, demanding that these reforms not to be brought, they wanted to be voiced out in the society. And for me, I feel it's very important. These are the people that make our society, so for us to give them that respect and to make sure that they feel heard is very important. At the end of the day, they're the ones that are making our food, that they're the ones that are doing the hard work. So it was something that I felt was the most sensible thing to do, the sensible thing to talk about. Yeah.
That's really interesting. All right. Now, you've been part of a few music videos.
Two of them, but yes.
So I think 3 or 4. How many?
I think only 2. I'm not sure, but
One
I'm
with
sure it's only
Arjun
yeah.
Kanungo, and there's one more. Okay. What about a career in Bollywood or OTT platforms? Does that excite you?
Being someone, I've already worked as a model, and I've spent so much of time in front of the camera. So this has been one of the things that I would normally do with or without the pageant. But I feel what the pageant has done has brought a lot of confidence in me, and even meeting a lot of women internationally, I've seen how much more can be done using this platform, and not only just Bollywood, not only just this. I mean, we only, as a society, we just focus on that. Okay, tum ye karoge, you'll just be in Bollywood, but we don't really see that, you can do many things. You have an actor who's into business, who's a politician. You have somebody who's doing something else. So for me, I have always been interested in business. I've always tried to see how I could be a leader in society, whether I could have a voice politically. So, and I'm just 22 and I have an entire life in front of me. So Bollywood can be one aspect of it, but it's not everything. They usually ask me, is Bollywood the next big thing? It comes naturally because we are in this industry of entertainment, and it's regardless of our participation in pageants. But I feel even my interest in business, and my interest in a slight interest in politics. My mom doesn't want me to join politics ever, but I'm interested. So
No, this is really fascinating. So, how important is it for youngsters to be politically aware? Because many a times we hear the statement that politics ke bare mein baat mat karo. As if it's like a taboo word, it's like a negative word. But the fact is, when two people are talking and when they're together, there is politics happening. So you can't escape that.
It's actually sad that people have to choose sides for that also. I think we're so used to choosing sides that we don't want it. For us, just the opinion matters now. It's not the real truth, what we want to actually establish. So I feel it's very important, as you said, for the youth to know what they really want and to see through what's happening, to have that awareness and to stand for their rights. People say that, okay, you complain, but it's very important to question a government, to bring credibility to a government. And I think that's what youngsters should do, especially have a lot of courage in doing, because the times that we are facing right now, it's not very easy to voice your opinion. It's not very easy to demand for your rights. But at the same time, we should not forget that that's our duty as a citizen. When we don't do that, we are running away from our duty, which is also not right. It's almost a sin.
Are you apprehensive about the fact that many times when celebrities, they tend to voice their opinions, there are voices that try to shut them down?
Absolutely. They do shut them down. And it's sad that, artists have to choose between their career and really voicing what they feel is right. I think we take opinions we take it too seriously. We think that if I don't agree with you, that means I hate you. We can still be friends, but we can not agree on the same point, and it's completely okay. We don't have to take it so seriously. I think we're losing our essence as a democracy. The tolerance factor, that maybe we don't agree on the same fact, maybe you think differently than I do, but it's okay. We both can exist in the same society. We both can have the same kind of opportunities. And I feel for artists, it becomes very crucial for artists because that's how society flourishes, when they have that freedom to express what they want in the form of art, with a lot of sensibility. Because at the same time, whenever you get a right, like a right to free speech or something, you also have a responsibility to use that and not offend anybody in that space. So I think it's so funny how artists are literally like doing tiptoe, like being very careful with all of these things. But I wish it was much more liberal for them.
Okay, and apparently you like reading a lot.
Yes, I love reading. I've spent I think my entire college life, I was so fascinated by books. The entire time, I think after my classes, I would go to the library and read books more than hanging out with people.
What sort of books you like to read?
I hope you don't doze off to sleep, but I love books on spirituality, self-help books. I know it's very nerdish, but I like it. It's fun. Hi, this is Adeline Cascino, and you're watching Bollywood Hungama. Do subscribe.